Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to the After School Dawah podcast. It's your boy Muhammad Imran. I'm here with Tahmid and Saad. Why were you laughing, bro?
You said it's your boy.
Yo, is that a new intro in it? Okay.
I don't know why. I just expected that as well. I just saw it come in, so that's why.
What is it? Is that a bad intro?
No, it's
bro,
just
it's sick.
cliche for the YouTuber. It's nice, but
Okay,
know,
fine. I'll let you guys
need that
decide.
unique selling point, you know.
Okay,
it's
fine.
your akhi. It's your
USP, yeah, cash cow, yeah.
USP.
It's your Bengali brethren. Mo.
Fungal
Yeah.
Tigers, yeah.
It's me and Mo. That's it. But yeah, obviously it's not actually been a while. I was gonna say it's been a while since all that. I was
So
like,
you say
yo.
that every episode.
Yeah, no, we just say it every episode. It's just routine. But you know what? This time we're actually on track because our last episode was 2 weeks ago. Before we get started with today's episode, I do want to mention again about the charity project that we have in mind. Basically, what we're thinking is that all of us together, you know, just to make 2021 a really good year, all of us together, as in me, the ASD team, but you guys too, we decide on a charity together every single month and we work on it together. Yeah? So by the end of the year, we have like maybe 12 different things that we've done. You know, maybe in March, we built a well. In April, we sponsored an orphan, and so on and so forth, innit? So that's the plan, inshallah. It might not be every single month, innit? We're just kind of putting it out there. You know, inshallah, maybe it will turn into that. Maybe next year, in 2022, it will be every single month, 12 different things we've done, yeah? Inshallah, innit? Inshallah.
Inshallah.
But yeah, so make sure you guys help us out with that. But yeah, so obviously Ramadan is just around the corner. I'm not sure how long it will be when we release this episode, but we'll be very, very, very close, right? And I guess one of the things that people don't really think about up until the point it's too late is actually dealing with our whatever habits that we currently have that aren't suited for Ramadan, right? What do I mean by this? I mean, let's say, okay, in Ramadan, you have to fast during the day, yeah? From Fajr to Maghrib. But it's not just fasting. You know, you can't swear. You can't be angry. You can't do this. You can't do that. There are other things that can also hinder your fast. And even things that can just hinder your Ramadan. And, you know, stop you from making the most out of your Ramadan. You get what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I guess we'll start with the question. Tahmid, what is your biggest worry in terms of getting ready for Ramadan this year?
So this year, going how it is, I think my biggest issue or worry would probably be not being in the right, like, mental or physical state to go through Ramadan. Because you know how last year
I fully get what you mean.
you get in it, like, so as soon as Ramadan starts, you kind of want to feel like, all right, this is it. It begins. I'm ready. But last year it wasn't like that, because obviously the coronavirus happened and all the lockdown and everything happened. And it just felt so off, and everything felt off, and it was
That's
nice.
the thing, innit? It's like the vibe of Ramadan. It comes from all of us like linking up for like mosque and stuff in the Tarawih and Iftar. When you take that out of the equation, like, where's the vibe at? You get what I mean?
Exactly, because you're just stuck in your house. It's like the same thing every day, but you're just not eating.
Yeah.
And so it's like you just can't wake up and go downstairs and eat.
Yeah, it's like all the fun parts of Ramadan is gone.
Yeah, man. And me in Ramadan, me and my dad, obviously we help out loads. Like, we're always pretty much out the house in the masjid, either when they're doing Quran or when they're setting off iftar or tarawih, whatever. And we're always about. So it just felt really off. So I think the most thing I'm worried about is just being able to get into that state mentally, or like, yo, this is the month I need to make the most of. Because it could be also, like, say, every Ramadan could be your last Ramadan. And if you... someone was once telling me a story before last Ramadan. I think it was a talk. He was saying how this guy, he was looking forward to Ramadan and everything, and he prepared for it. And then a few days before Ramadan, he passed away. Because he regretted the last Ramadan so much. He was like, I'm going to make the most of the next one. But then he passed away before he could even reach the next Ramadan.
Man, that is peak. That is peak.
It is.
May Allah subhanahu wa
deep.
ta'ala accept his intentions
You know what I mean?
for like
Ameen.
making the most
Ameen.
out of the next Ramadan. You know?
So,
And I guess that should be our first step in it, to be fair. Like if we're talking about preparing for this Ramadan, our first step would be making the intention to make the most out of this Ramadan, you know. Like I don't know if you guys do this, and I do this sometimes, like with different things in it. Like you don't like, you know, when you like say like, okay, I'm gonna do something in it. Like let's say I say that, okay, I'm gonna go for a run every single day in it. I say it, but I don't fully say it. You know, I say it, but I kind of hold back. You get what I mean?
You relate with that one, don't you?
That's what I'm struggling with right now, man. You know? So you're kind of holding back a little bit, you know? I think it's the same with this, innit? Ramadan. Oh man, I lost my train of thought.
Sorry, my bad. You're just talking about preparing stuff, I guess, innit? Or you could go to Saad.
I mean,
Yeah. Wait, sorry.
Do you remember?
What was it? Okay, yeah, okay. Before I go to Saad, innit? Yeah, sorry, Saad. Do you forgive me?
yeah, bro.
Am I forgiven, bro?
You're forgiven, bro. Don't worry about it.
Come on, it's Ramadan, man. Stop being a waste, man. Forgive
He
me
forgave
right
me,
now.
forgave you,
It's
bro.
like 3 weeks before Ramadan, so
So you're saying I need to wait 3 weeks?
yeah, bro. Sorry, I can't forgive you right now.
Bro,
Here's
I
an
remember-
IOU,
When he
yeah,
passes away these 3 weeks.
I remember
shit.
someone asked a question. You know what? We'll get into this a bit later, innit? It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, so yeah, when people when Ramadan comes, they, you know, it's kind of a bit too late by the time they actually end up in Ramadan, right? Like I said in the beginning, Tahmid made a mad point about like just the vibe of Ramadan. You don't feel it, bro. I'm scared about that too. I'm not gonna lie. Last Ramadan, it was only recently I realized that we were still in lockdown last Ramadan. You know, I didn't realize that because I didn't even. I don't know, like
Didn't realize.
I didn't even realize it was Ramadan half the time. Not gonna lie, it was more like, you know when you fast on Mondays and Thursdays.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's kind of like that. Not gonna lie, because there was nothing more to it. You get what I mean? We did Tarawih here and there as family, but that's about it. But that being said, you know, one good solution, in my opinion, would be your family that's around you. You know, do things together in Ramadan, and then maybe that will bring about that spirit. You get what I mean? I know I can't remember which what the ayah was exactly. There's an ayah in the Quran, I think it's Surah Baqarah, where Allah says that, you know, He has the prescribed fasting upon the people before you. No, upon you, like the people before you, something like that, innit?
كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون.
Yeah.
Shout out Islamiyat. Remember it from there.
But yeah, like that hadith, that ayat in it, is about like, look, you know, the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that is to tell you that you're not alone in this fasting, innit? Others, the ummah around you, the people around you, all the Muslims are doing it, and the Muslims from the past, they also did it. Yeah, you know, that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, and that's why it's actually really important to have that Ramadan vibe, you know, where you see other people fasting. So, you know, if you're living with family right now, or if you're living with other Muslims, take advantage of that and do things together in it. Like for example, today, you know, I started talking to my siblings about, hey, how are you guys preparing for Ramadan? You know, my little brother, he's, you know, he's still a kid, innit? I'm asking him, hey, are you gonna be fasting this Ramadan, innit? You know, get them involved. You know, so that's a good shout. That's a good shout.
It's nice.
Yeah, but that being said, Saad, what about you?
I mean, one of the things I fear the most is like having a bad attitude in it, just generally, from stuff that might annoy me. Cause like, bro, when I'm hungry or tired, I just can't be asked in it. Like that's how it is.
I get what you mean, man.
I just get annoyed at like little things. Like alhamdulillah, I don't get angry, like rage, but I get like either I get passive aggressive or I start to raise my voice a bit in it and raise my tone with whoever I'm talking to. So I don't want that to happen. And so, like, I remember one time, this was like a real test of my patience, bro. I was this was last Ramadan as well, I think. and we had to go down south to my brother's place, right? Because he doesn't live obviously in Manchester with us. He lives in Oxford, which is down south. And so me, my dad, basically we're all going down in it, the family, and I had to drive, and this is like the first time I'm driving like proper long distance. Yeah. I if anyone knows me, they know I don't like driving long distance. Like if it's more than half an hour, I just can't be asked driving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate long distance driving. So, bro, this was like a 3.5 hour drive as well.
What? That's long distance?
Yeah, legit.
Saad used to be scared of driving on a motorway.
Yeah, I didn't like driving on motorways. But then after that, alhamdulillah, obviously I got used to it because it's 3.5 hours of motorways. So I just like got my mind ready and did it. But I was fasting, while I was driving. And so what happened was we didn't actually go to Oxford straight away. We went to Luton first to visit someone, and then we went to Oxford afterwards. So I had to drive to one place, and then it was 3.5 hours down to Luton, which is near London, and then another like an hour and a half, I think, or an hour to Oxford, right? So the total journey basically was like almost like I guess you could say like 5 hours or something, right? Maybe around that. And the entire time I was fasting, and obviously we left at like 11 a.m. Yeah, so I woke up early.
Yeah.
And we didn't get there until like Oxford. I don't think we got there till like maybe 6, 7, 8 p.m. or something, around that time perhaps. So the rest of my family, I don't think they were fasting, but I was. And actually, hang on, this might have been after Ramadan. It wasn't. I don't think it was Ramadan, but I was fasting because it was maybe one of the Ayam al-Bid or whatever, the days you're supposed to fast on. It was some day. And so the entire time during the car ride, bro, like every time someone said something to me, especially but you know how it is when your parents are next to you and they're telling you how to drive. It's flipping annoying. And my dad, he's sitting in the front seat next to me in the passenger seat, and he was telling me, "Oh, slow down," because it's like the first proper time he's been on the motorway. That must
be really irritating,
bro. I was like on the motorway for 3.5 hours, and just imagine, like him being like, "Oh, slow down, you're going too close to the car." Slow, and I'm fasting at the same time, and I'm on the motorway trying to focus on driving, and he's doing this as well. And then we get into the city. And then we're marooned around the city, and obviously it's not a city I've seen before in it. So I'm trying to I'm trying to be as careful as possible, but at the same time he's giving me saying, "Oh no, don't do this. Why are you doing this?" And so I'm just getting, my anger level is like slowly rising, bro. Like I'm about to come to like screaming, yeah. So every time he says something to me, I just whisper to myself. I'm like, bro, Allahumma inni as'aluka sabr, right? And I just say that again and again and again. Allah grant me sabr, again and again and again. And it becomes so repetitive that I think my dad clocks that I'm saying it, yeah. So he just shuts up.
What a legend.
he just like,
damn it. Saad found the loophole. He was like, I'm just gonna pray so loud my dad hears me.
Because I think he looked at me, right, and he's like, "What is he saying?" And then he must have just clocked that what I was saying, and then he just stopped, kind of like he chilled out a bit.
Yeah,
he was still kind of going.
Man, I get you. Like that can get very irritating, man.
Yeah, and especially when you're fasting, bro, your mind isn't as calm as it. And if you're working on top of that, because some people work 9 to 5 in Ramadan, or sometimes even longer, like 9 to 7.
But subhanallah, man, that's mad though as well. Like you consider. We do this for 30 days, bro. Imagine how much self-control we have by the end of that.
Yeah.
When you're at a state where you're hungry and you can control yourself, man. Because that's what we're having to do, innit? It's mad, bro. It's mad.
And bro, like the Sahabah, the Prophet sallallahu they used to do this well. And even after he's sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away, the Khalifas, they obviously they would go to war and they would have battles and skirmishes and campaigns. And some of them might take place in Ramadan, and it's mad to think that I was driving 3.5 hours, and I was my annoyance level was rising, while they were fighting, right? They were probably seeing their friends get killed, and they were at the same time they were hungry and thirsty, and in the boiling heat of the desert of Arabia, and they were doing all this, and they didn't manage to lose their patience once, never got annoyed. They still treated their family perfectly. With a perfect level of manners and respect. And subhanAllah, it just shows you the amount of self-control they had, man. Like, ours is even close.
Like, the amount of belief they have, man, it's just on another level.
100%.
Like Saad said, like, it was hot.
Yeah.
And like they were wearing armor, they were fighting. Like imagine that. Oh my, I can't even imagine that, bro.
Trust
Like yo, give me all the food in the world, I still would find that difficult. You get what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
You know, put food into the equation. You know, make the weather good. No, it will still be hard for us.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the strength to do more, inshallah.
Oh, I thought I lagged for a second. It just went like pitch silence.
Yeah, you know. I just didn't have anything to say.
No, bro, I just got a Nasheed playlist in the background.
This and when they started humming like
Trying to get in the mood, yeah?
Oh yeah, you get me, bro.
see, the Ramadan anger,
yeah.
it is real. Like once, I shouldn't be saying this, but I'm gonna say it. Yeah. So it's
Jeez.
exposing my dad.
Man spilling the tea.
No, don't.
Jeez,
If it's exposing his sins, don't say it.
session.
No, it's not a sin. It's
Alright.
just so he did.
Alright.
Well, obviously, I won't expose sins.
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
So like Ramadan ages ago, you know, in the World Cup was
Yeah.
happening. So I was
Yeah.
young, and then once, you all know my dad is like the sweetest, nicest guy ever, and it proper
Yeah,
always
yeah.
laughing, smiling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yo, this is affects the Ramadan. So we were there watching the World Cup, and then it's like it's like Asr time, I think, maybe iftar, so the in between.
Yeah.
And with that, me, my sister, my dad in the living room watching World Cup on the TV. And then we were just sitting there, and then I think me and my sister get messing about, or we just talking, whatever. So we'd get irritated and be like, stop talking, or stop moving around, stop messing around, whatever. So then we'd tone it down, and he'd still say it, and then we'd just stay quiet and then say something. Anytime we'd do anything, if we would just move, he'd jump out. He's like, what the heck you doing? I'm trying to watch football.
So yo, David,
and
stop breathing, man. What are you doing?
yeah, legit, pretty much. And then, so yeah, it got to a point where it's like, he just had enough. So then we did something. He's like, that's it. And he got up. I was like, oh no, what's he gonna do? He walked to the TV and he just kicked the TV. and then it fell. And I was like, yo. And we were just like, what? And he just walked off. And I was like, what?
And that is why Tahmid's got a new TV now.
I mean, this was it. No, luckily it didn't break. I'm surprised it didn't break.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah,
Right.
crazy stuff has happened. Also in the mosque, you know, in the mosque, because I'm there every day in it, so I see bad stuff. Every single year, without fail, there's an argument. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
for sure.
That one that
man.
escalates.
Yeah, always.
Like,
Always.
And
There's always the old
maddest
guys
ones-
as well. There's always the old guys.
always. And the maddest one of them was they like legit got into a fight,
Yeah, man.
and then it's kind of sad also to see, like, come on, we're literally just all of us about to break our fast. What?
Nah, it is. Yeah,
Why are
it's
you
a
gonna
pretty
start a
terrible
fight,
thing.
man? Can't you control your anger for like a few more minutes?
Bro,
You can
it's
eat
like
your food, bro.
it's like you just threw away all that hard work you put in
Mm.
of fasting.
100%.
Like,
You know,
That's
that's
crucial,
that's actually
man.
quite depressing, bro. Like, imagine, like, you know, you try so hard to do all these good deeds, and then one moment of anger or one moment of losing your control just like messes it all up for you, man. Like, imagine, like, I don't know how I'd feel terrible, bro. Like, because you don't know, in it. That's the thing. Like, you don't know, like, if that's been accepted or not, and that uncertainty is what gets me. It's like,
Bro,
I
that's the
need to
thing,
control myself. Otherwise, if I say anything right now, like, I could lose all my like the stuff I've gained, all my hasanat, and I wouldn't know. Like, I wouldn't know if that's been accepted. Is it not accepted? Like, I'm just in this limbo state of, you know, do I have to make up for it? What do I do now? Like, you know, is it even worth me carrying on? And you get all these thoughts and ideas, and it's just depressing, man.
No, it makes sense, Saad. But at the same time, like, Islam is a balance, innit?
Yeah.
You know, like, for us, we should think about these things. But at the same time, we need to also realize that we can't always have an eye out on ourselves, innit?
Yeah.
We can't always double check every single thing we do.
Yeah.
You know, try the best you can in it, but then leave the rest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even like, let's say for example, like sins, right? If you try your best to hide your sins from other people,
Yes.
then Allah will also hide it from other people.
Yep.
You know, if you're just there like, you know what, I'll just sin in public, then guess what? Allah's
Or
not
if you-
gonna try hide it for you.
Exactly.
You
If
know?
you publicize it or gloat about it, you know,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
But you make it seem like not as bad as it actually is, or you try and downplay it.
So yeah, obviously we're all gonna slip up here and there, and things are gonna happen, but it's mainly about
that guilt.
And also just like you trying in it, like at least you're doing something. You get what I mean? Not giving up, basically. Not like doing nothing and just be like, you know what? I've tried. I can't do this too much, because then it will get up to that level in it if you just they're like, okay, everything needs to be perfect. This, all of it. You get what I mean? Because then you're never gonna reach that. Instead you're just gonna you're gonna dig yourself a hole, basically.
Yeah. Although it reminds me, if you're fasting, because obviously everyone, majority of people have a short temper in it, or will be ticked off easier than normal.
Yeah.
So one thing you should probably, everyone, even myself, if you start practicing, is just learning to stay quiet even if you want to say something so badly. Just learn to not say anything. I'm telling you, it's a superpower. And once you can do that, it will help you so much. Even Umar radiallahu anhu, he said that never once have I regretted my silence, but as for my words, I have regretted those many times. Something along those lines.
Yeah.
And it's true. In situations where you could answer, you could say stuff, but you stay silent, you might think about it later on, like, I could have said this, I could have said that.
Yeah.
But then in the long run, later on, you're like, it's good I didn't say anything, to be honest, innit?
Yeah, because it gives you some time to actually look at it objectively. And
I've noticed it's not just helpful for you, it's helpful for the other person. Because it's a statement to them. Because when you don't say anything, they start overthinking about what they said, and so it makes them reflect as well. And that's one thing I noticed.
Unless they're Asian parents, then they just get even more angry, and they just start arguing with themselves but at you. That's
yeah, Asian parents are a different breed, man.
Even it's just a bad disclaimer. It doesn't work with Asian parents. I've tried people.
But they're not gonna lie, there's an odd occasion where sometimes they've come and be like, sorry I shouted at you before, blah. But that's as they get older.
That's my parents, and they always do that. They'll shout at me, and then the next day or something, they'll apologize, and they're like, I shouted at you. But it's always the same routine, innit? I know it's gonna happen. It's like that, innit?
Because I've gotten in arguments a couple times. Some recent, some long time ago. Yeah. And some of them where I've just stayed silent. So there's this one instance where someone was saying something to me in it, and I just completely aired it. I was like, yeah, whatever, say what you want. That's literally what I said. I was like, just when you're finished. No, I didn't say when you're finished. That's kind of petty. But I basically just said, yeah, say whatever you want, and I just left. And then
so that's
a few
why
days
left me.
And then a few days or something later, they came back and apologized. They're like, yo, I'm sorry for all that, innit? You could have said so much, but you didn't say nothing, and I respect that. And I'm sorry for everything I said. I was like, it's alright. So it's just takes a lot of willpower, but it's worth it. And you just gotta.
Bro, you know what's mad about all of this? Yeah, one thing in common with all of this is anger, basically. Anger makes us very illogical and irrational, and I guess it's just high emotion in general, isn't it? When you're in a state where your emotions are very high, you're really reactive in it, you're not going to think logically, and that's the whole point of it. That's the whole point of not saying anything at that moment, stepping down, and dealing with the situation once you've calmed down, basically, letting the storm go. I don't know what the analogy is in it. Something about a storm in it. letting the rain die down first in it before you head out. There you go. That's something
is
like
that. Is it?
I don't know. Guns out.
If it isn't, you just made it.
I don't know.
But
it was Suns out, guns
make
out.
Make your own quotes, bro. You don't need quotes. You make your own.
Alright. Suns out, guns out. That's my quote.
That's
what guns, bro?
So fat, it's muscle, bro. Now
that's what I'm shooting out in it. Shooting out fat, bro.
That's quite powerful, what you just said, because, bro, you see a lot of these.
Suns out, guns out.
Yeah. That's it touched my heart, bro. Now, we're here giving advice, which is fair enough. It's important for people to be aware of these things, innit, and for us to share our experiences. So either we ourselves can learn from what people can, and obviously you have these videos online where it's how to be patient, or you see all these lectures and you see all these motivational speakers talk about it, like, you know, your words are important, they mean a lot, they can hurt, they can, you know, they can cure someone, they can hurt someone, etc., right? But in the moment of, like, in the heat of the moment, and when you're in the middle of it, like what Muhammad just said, it doesn't come down to, you don't think of like all these motivational like speeches and everything you've heard about how not to be angry.
Yeah,
and
you don't think about consequences.
You don't think of it. All that's going through
feelings.
your head right now is like instinctual fight or flight behavior, right? It's just like, I need to get my side of the argument out so I can prove that I'm right.
And also I need to get my frustration, my anger out.
My frustration out.
You know, because that's energy that's inside you right now.
Yeah.
You just want to let it out, innit?
Yeah. And like that's tough, as especially like men generally, who get very like kind of, you know, constantly like told not to be, you know, be patient, don't be angry, this, that. But then, you know, obviously we have an instinctual nature to kind of like let it out, yeah. And a lot of men, they'll try and hide it as well. They'll try and suppress their anger all the time, and then there comes a point where they bottle up for so long it just explodes. And obviously that's not healthy, innit? Like you need to have someone to kind of express your concerns about, because if you don't, then it's just going to eat away at you forever. And I think it's important to remember, when you're in that moment, forget about all the like motivational speeches or whatever, or the only thing you should really consider, right? Obviously that's good for being aware, but the only thing that I think you should really consider is what's going to happen as soon as I say this, yeah? Like immediately after, what will be the consequences, yeah? So that's the only thing you're thinking about. It's not you're thinking about, for example, how is this going to have a long-term effect, yeah? How is this going to affect the other person, yeah? You think about how it's going to affect you, because at that moment you're being selfish anyway, yeah? So if you're being selfish, if you think about how it's going to affect you, what consequences it's going to have to you, then it'll help you make more sense of the situation, I feel. Because like in that moment when I was angry at my, you know, well, I wasn't angry, but I was annoyed at, you know, my dad constantly telling me like, do this, don't do this, do that in the car. I was just thinking to myself like, I'm not gonna say anything because I know I'm gonna regret it later. Like I don't like in that moment I wasn't thinking about, oh yeah, they're my parents, I shouldn't really say this, that. I wasn't thinking. Honestly I wasn't like really considering that. I was thinking like, you know, I'm gonna regret it later, and I know I'm gonna regret it. It's gonna be a fact that I'm gonna regret this later, yeah, for whatever reason. But I know I'm gonna regret it, so I just stopped myself. I'm like, listen, I don't want to feel that like stupid pain later. Yeah, I don't want to feel that kind of, oh, why did I do this? This was such a cringe moment, and I didn't even apologize. You know what I mean? Like it was like I said this, and I shouldn't have said this, and it's just terrible. And why did I do this? And then it all stopped because I didn't say anything. I was like, well, I didn't say anything. I have nothing to worry about now. I'm calm. Like,
yeah. No, definitely. You know, with all of this in it, I think it's a good shout for us to talk a little bit about how to actually deal with anger then, you know, coming into Ramadan. Like you said, people will have a bit of a short temper. I guess, like, firstly, you know, in Islam we're advised to not be angry, innit? You know, he asked for advice, you know, and the Prophet ﷺ, he kept telling him, don't be angry. And then he kept asking again, is there any other piece of advice? He's like, don't be angry. You know, and then the guy got frustrated. He got angry again. You know, but that's the advice. Don't be angry, because of what we said. You know, a lot of problems are caused when you're in a state of anger. But then at the same time, like Saad said, don't suppress it, innit? What happens when you do that? Let's say you're working, yeah, you know, and your boss, he's, you know, having a mad go at you. You know, he's just making your day really difficult, innit? So then you're there. Obviously, you can't say anything to your boss, innit? Because you'd get fired, right? So you suppress it. Then what happens? You go home and you lay it out on your kids and your wife, right? Bare husbands do that, innit? You know, is what do you call it? Displacement of anger or something. You know, so that will happen. You'll release it to someone else, or you'll boil it up until it all bursts out, because it doesn't just disappear, you know, into thin air. You know, and as you know, we shouldn't be doing that either. We shouldn't be suppressing it. What we should be doing is dealing with it. So in Islam, what do we know, right? If you're angry, what do? If you're standing up, you sit down. If you're sitting down, you lie down. You know, I think what was it about like doing wudu? Is that if you're lying down already, do wudu, or like is that like the next step?
I don't know. I've only heard to lying down.
I think it is the next step.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Do wudu and pray to nafil or something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was like wudu and praying as well.
Mhm.
So those are things there in it. And if you think about it, what's the reason for that in it? It's so that you can calm yourself down and actually think. You know?
Mm.
Like, let's say you're standing up. As soon as you sit down, boom, like, you kind of pause a little bit. You're lying down, you pause even more in it. You know? So the whole point is to calm yourself down. So yeah, and once you do that, then think about it, then try and deal with it. Don't suppress it, don't ignore it, don't let it go in it.
Yep.
You know, like let's say you have a problem with your parent, with your dad in it. You know, we're gonna be stuck at home with our families this Ramadan in it, right? So chances are you might have an argument here or two with your siblings, with your mom, with your dad, right? Let's say you had your argument and you did what you're meant to do. You stayed silent in it. You didn't say anything, right? You kept it, right? What happens after that? If you suppress it and you don't talk about it afterwards, you know when you get better and then you talk about it afterwards. If you don't do that, what happens then?
Builds
Then
up,
guess
innit?
what? Your sibling or your parent is going to do the same thing again.
Mm.
And then you're going to have to be silent again.
Mm.
And then you're going to suppress it again.
And it's gonna be
And it's just
tougher,
gonna
even
go-
tougher the second time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just going to go on and on. You have to deal with it. You have to deal with it. So make sure you
Yes.
do that. Inshallah. But yeah, okay. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, found it beneficial. If so, please make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, share it with your friends and your family. And yeah, with that said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Peace.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Peace out, brothers and sisters. And
See, at the end, I still
whoever
remember to
else.
say Assalamu wa alaikum assalam.